What's going on, YouTube? It's R to the double, dash to the E, dash to the Z. You know what it is. That's not even how I say my name, but I'm so excited because the topic of this video is a phenomenal suggestion. And we're just going to call this video right off the bat. I mean, if I wasn't being lazy right now, I go into my editing software and I'd have the credits roll right above the top of the video, giving them props. But I'm just going to say it audibly. This is going to be a brought to you by Jason production. My dog Jason, you've heard me mention him plenty of times, countless times on the channel. A very, very dear friend of mine who we met on this channel, on my YouTube channel, eons ago. God, I want to say the beginning, bro. And have remained close and remained brothers ever since, bro. Kept in touch with each other throughout the days, weeks, months, years. Love his beautiful wife, Angie. She's a amazing person, man. So yeah, man, him and me go back and forth, on the regular throughout the week and whatnot. And I'm getting out of work and I'm driving. I had to go to the uniform store because my backward ass institution, after almost 3 years, finally decides, hey, Torres needs a badge. So they finally gave me my badge, and so I had to go to the uniform store, get a badge holder so I could finally wear it on my belt. I was coming out of the uniform store from that, driving home, and I got a notification on my screen on the car through Android Auto, basically telling me, hey, Jason's sent you a message. Would you like to listen to it since you're driving? I say, yeah, put it on. Now Android Auto uses Gemini, which is an AI assistant from Google, or it might be from Samsung. I don't know, whatever. Gemini, and it says, "Would you like it to use Gemini to basically give you the gist of the message?" It basically reads the message, it summarizes it, and just gives you an explanation of what the message is trying to say. So I say, "Yeah, fuck it, let's go. What can go wrong?" AI. And it goes, Jason was wondering your thoughts on the performance of the Switch 2 versus the Switch 1 in its first year, since you've had it since launch. And I was like, oh. So I thought about it. I'm like, damn, that's a hell of a topic. So I got home. I answered him right quick through voice messages because I was walking the dog. And I said, damn, you know what? The last message I left him, he's probably laughing if he's watching this. I literally told him, I'm like, you know what? Just like Chris Jericho used to say, you've made the list. That is now, you are now on the list of the inspiration for Reasonautics' new video, which we're going to go record right fucking now because the topic is so great. And I cannot believe that I haven't done an in-depth video really showing or talking about my thoughts, my feelings, my experience, my reaction, the comparison on how this here gamer sees Switch 1 versus Switch 2 year one. What they've done in their first year, the games they had, the impact, the overall feeling. So I said, damn, we're doing that right now, man. And so, let me just make sure. There we go. Damn, so 1%. That's why I got to charge. Here we got the Switch 1 OLED edition. And here we got my Switch 2 charging at the moment. Switch 2. You see the size difference, a lot bigger screen, a lot more size on the Joy-Cons, a lot more power, a lot more features, a lot more capability in this console versus this one, but there is no this one without this one. Ain't that some shit? So, we're going to go over basically my overall feeling and thoughts. Basically, in a nutshell, I gave him in a nutshell what I'm going to put in this video as far as my consensus thoughts and opinions on the matter. Now, one of the things I told him, because he says, matter of fact, let me read you his message so you can see where we're going with this. So, this is his actual message, not the AI interpretation. Question: how has the Switch 2 been for you since you've had it since launch? I've been just looking into it, not to buy, lol, just to see which generation was the more impactful in the months they've been out. I was just being nosy, looking at what's available for Switch 2 for the amount of time it's been out, and doesn't look as strong like the Switch 1. I know Nintendo always makes a comeback, but damn, that Switch 1 lineup we had was something else, man. 2017. Fuck yeah. So I answered him and I said, you know what, bro? A truer statement in the English language or English vernacular could not be said or uttered. That is the truth. That is the gospel. I don't think there will ever be in the history of mankind an overcoming or a beating of that 2017 Nintendo Switch 1 launch and year one lineup. Nintendo was on one, bro. Nintendo was on crack. Nintendo lost their minds. They were like, all right, we're launching this new console. All the leaks about it have been true. It's because it was the NX. and it was a hybrid console. Everything ended up being true. Detachable controllers, all that. So they were like the same kind of vibe or feel that Sega had towards the end of their life, where it was like, who's gonna trust us? The Wii U was such a disaster. Wii U was a phenomenal console. I say it every time. I always give that disclaimer. Even though that system did not do well commercially, I thought it was a fantastic console, and I play it to this day. But it was such a disaster, and the investors and the third parties, had all basically lost faith in Nintendo. And here they're coming with a big swing, something that's never been done. Leave it to the big end to be the innovators to say, you know what? When our backs are up against the wall and everybody's laughing at us, and we just had a horrible generation, instead of playing it safe and making a big, fat, powerful console like the other two, Sony and Microsoft, we're gonna go in the direction of the Wii. We're gonna innovate. We're gonna come at this with a whole new approach to gaming. And Jesus the Christ who sits on the throne, did they they blasted that ball out of the park. Like, that ball came and they hit that motherfucker so hard that on the way out, it was like those old Looney Tune cartoons. The ball was just screaming the whole way out, bro. They kicked ass, bro. But it had a lot to do with that first year's lineup, because you got to remember, it's 2017. So the Wii U had been out for a little bit over 4 years. Had sold barely 14 million consoles worldwide. Switch 2 is already at over 20 million in less than its first year. So that goes to show you. And you know that no third parties are going to be there on day one. This is going to be a strictly Nintendo manned mission. Nintendo is going to carry the banner. Nintendo is going to basically fund and fuel this entire first year, at least, if not more. So it's going to be on their backs to carry this console. So let's look at the lineup. Just off the top of my head, I may have the order of some games messed up as to when they came out, which one came out before the other, but we start obviously with Breath of the Wild. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, that monumental blockbuster, in my eyes, greatest game of all time. Just a fucking masterpiece that cannot be rivaled. Not even by its superior sequel, it still cannot be touched. You had Breath of the Wild. Now, some people are going to say, well, do we really count Breath of the Wild? Because Breath of the Wild also launched on the Wii U. Oh, not launched, but also came out on the Wii U. And it's a very serviceable version of the game. It just doesn't perform as good and look as good as a Switch. But let's be honest. Switch had 14 million. Wii U had 14 million barely consoles out there. You always got to do that. So fucked up my whole train of thought. Wii U had 14 million barely 14 million sales systems out there in the wild. So you know that people were going to be playing Breath of the Wild on the Switch. So let's be real, it's a Switch game. Then you had ARMS, great new IP, super fun, especially for when it came out. Yeah, it didn't last. It didn't become the hit that something like Splatoon on the Wii U as a brand new franchise was. But it was very fun for the time it lasted. Online mode, very, very, very Nintendo-y type franchise. And it was super fun. I used to play with my kids all the time when they were younger. After that, you had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Somewhere after that, I think like a month or two after that, you had Splatoon 2, which was fucking awesome. Then, there was a bunch of other games mixed in there. But then towards October, you had Super Mario Odyssey, which was just the big time, big 3D open world Mario game everybody had been wanting since Mario 64. And then you had Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Nintendo's flagship RPG franchise that just gets better and better with every installment as the holiday game. And there you also had Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu in that first year, if I'm not mistaken. And I think you had Super Mario Maker 2 in the first year also. And you had Smash Brothers in the first year. Smash Brothers Ultimate, which was just fucking... Bro. So that you can't beat that lineup. Nobody to this day has even come close to touching that lineup. So I feel like when comparing Switch 2 versus Switch 1 in the first year, it's kind of unfair because you can't... You're not. There's no possible way to beat that lineup. That lineup was just fucking Like, bro, my wallet was bleeding that entire 2017, bro. Just screaming bloody murder. But yeah, man. I mean, they had amazing games. They had and it was just in quick succession, month after month after month. Nintendo was doing this on their own, and the system was flying off shelves. And the records were just breaking and breaking and breaking to the point where third party finally, after about a year and a half, started paying attention and started saying, "Holy shit, we got to get on this." And then you had games like Doom 2016 on the Switch, games like Skyrim, I think, was in the first year as well. Might have been Skyrim, the definitive edition or whatever, on the Switch. Then you had Mortal Kombat 11, which was a phenomenal port on the Switch. You had there was a bunch of third party. Oh, Friday the 13th, Dead by Day. All these games started coming to the Switch, but it took some time. Whereas the Switch 2 launched with Mario Kart World, which was fucking awesome, and it still is. I still go back to that game. They just need to give us some content, bro. Like, honestly, they need to give Mario Kart World some new DLC, some actual extra content to reinvigorate the embers of that fire, because there's so much to do in that world and so much goodness in that game. But we would like some more tracks, maybe some new gameplay modes that they can easily do. But you have Mario Kart World. Then, like 2 months later, you had Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is Donkey Kong in 3D, finally back for the first time since Donkey Kong 64. And Donkey Kong Bonanza is the greatest. It is the greatest Donkey Kong game to me. I love the Donkey Kong Country series, but that's a whole different thing. That's 2D to 2.5D platforming, and they are the kings. Those are the best games ever in that genre. But there's just something about Donkey Kong in 64, Donkey Kong in 3D. And Donkey Kong 64 was the last time we saw that, and I loved that game. But that game was way, I don't know, yeah, it was like way too big with way too much to collect, and too many collectibles, and too many limitations on who can collect what. So you were constantly having to swap out and all that. It was still a fantastic game. Don't get me wrong. That's my boy Jason's favorite game of all time, if I'm not mistaken, is Donkey Kong 64. But yeah, man. So Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out and just rips the world a new asshole, like just completely destroys it. Awesome game. And then you had, a little bit down the line, you had Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which, of course, a controversy. Haters are gonna hate. The game's not selling well, apparently. I hope that's not true. I haven't really looked into it, but it's like, if that's not true, then Metroid is just cursed to be the only franchise that even the Switch can't sell, because, like, geez, everything sells on the Switch. So if this isn't selling, I don't know what to tell you. I think if it's not selling, it's strictly due to, and I'm gonna be as respectful as I can when I say this, but it's gonna be due to two things. It's gonna be due to fucking review bombers, just review bombing the hell out of that game and making people think it sucks, and it's gonna be due to, and again I say this with love, pansy ass mama's boy fucking Metroid Prime purist, who, because this game doesn't have the exact same vibe as the original Metroid Prime or Prime Echoes, now they hate it. Now it sucks. Now it's not Metroid Prime. And I said, like I said in the last couple of videos, I'll defer to you guys on that because you're the Metroid Prime experts. But there's one thing I know: this is my favorite Metroid Prime of all time, hands down. It's not even a question. I used to love Metroid Prime 3 Corruption on the Wii because those motion controls made it so immersive and it was so great. But this fucking game hooked me in a way no other Metroid Prime game hooked me and hasn't let me go. I'm literally about to beat it. I haven't played it in a couple weeks because I've been busy with a lot of stuff, but I'm definitely going back to it and gonna finish it. So you have Mario Kart World, you had Donkey Kong Bonanza, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Those are three stunners, first party titles. But people are saying, like he was saying, it doesn't seem like there's a lot versus the Switch One. Yes, because the Switch One, Nintendo had to carry that, the beginning of that generation, the first year and a half of that generation. Nintendo had to carry that on their own backs, on their own, because very little third party support was there because of the fear of it being another Wii U. It wasn't until the third party saw a good year to a year and a half of just this system selling ridiculous that they were like, we want a piece of that pie. We get all of our games, whatever games we can, even our old games that have been out for years, and just port them over to the Switch. Let's get on this money train, baby. That's basically what happened. With the Switch 2, they don't have that deficit. They're not playing from behind the eight ball. They're coming into this motherfucker with the whole world knowing. There's nobody, bro. There are very, very few. Very, very few. We'll call them stupid people, thought at any point in time before the launch of the Switch 2 that this system was going to be a flop. Very few in their heart of hearts really thought that. Some of them, would write it for clickbait, to get, clicks on their site and on their article, on their video, whatever. Nobody really thought that, bro, in their heart of hearts, because the Switch 1 was such a phenomenon. And all we were asking for and all everybody wanted was a stronger, more powerful Switch. And Nintendo delivered that in spades. So going into the Switch 2, Nintendo can take their time crafting some badass, made for the Switch 2 only, exclusive first-party gems. Now, Mario Kart World could not be done on the Switch 1. That game, I don't care what people say. They can say, oh, it began development on the Switch 1. It was never going to launch on the Switch 1. I can guarantee you that. Not the way it is now. They could not do that. So, Mario Kart World, to me, was designed from the ground up for the Switch 2. Donkey Kong Bonanza began development on the Switch 1. But they said it themselves. They couldn't get... The system didn't have the processing power to give them the feeling and the to make all that destructible environments and stuff that happens in that game flow and happen as naturally. It couldn't do it, so it had to be a Switch 2 game. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, we know, was a Switch 1 game. It's just a Switch 2 edition is so much better. But Nintendo has recently said that they're shifting development to strictly Switch 2 games. So this is good. And Star Fox looks like it's going to be the first one. And that game looks... So, you don't have as much first-party bangers year one with the Switch 2 because they're able to rely a lot on third-party now when they never have had that luxury. So, coming into the Switch 2, you already had Street Fighter 6 looking amazing. You already had Cyberpunk looking and running amazing. You already had the enhancements that this does to older third-party games on the Switch 1. Like, if you put Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch 1, it's horrible. Even with all the updates and the patches and all that, yeah, it's better than it was when it launched, but it's still not a great port. But on the Switch 2, that shit runs buttery smooth, and it looks a lot better. You already had Madden, the Madden of the year, which was 2026. Madden 2026. You had WWE 2K25 with all the bells and whistles, WWE 2K26 with all the bells and whistles, and graphical parity with the Series X and the PlayStation 5. You have all these third-party gems, all these third-party games. You have sports games, you have action games, you have fighting games, you have all these Hogwarts Legacy. You have all these games that Nintendo was never able to put on their Switch 1, or they did. It was a very severely neutered port. Like, I'm looking at Switch 2 now, like, bro, I mean, it won't matter for me because I already have it on through actual owning it and also on Game Pass, but it would be great for Nintendo fans. The Jurassic World Evolution 3. That should be ported over to the Switch 2. It can handle it, bro. Planet Coaster and all these games that I'm playing on Xbox. But yeah, man, I mean, they have so much more third-party support here that they can take their time. So I'm willing to bet year 2 for the Switch 2 is going to be, not going to beat it because you can't beat it, but it's going to be very, very reminiscent of 2017 on the Switch 1. I just got a feeling because the system is way too powerful and has way too many features that developers can take advantage of to not have, like, it's going to continue having great third-party support, but then Nintendo's big guns are going to start rolling out. The new Zelda, the new Mario, the new Smash. Star Fox is coming. I told you this was going to happen. I told you before the Switch 2 even launched. This will be the console on which you will see the revival of a lot of Nintendo's dormant franchises. Star Fox was first. F-Zero's coming next. F-Zero's coming next. And I just have a feeling, bro, and I hope so. Wave Race. Silence. I'm just saying. But yeah, man. So in comparison, year one to year one, you could say the Switch 1 had a better year one, and I wouldn't fight you, and I agree. But I don't want things to be misconstrued because I have enjoyed my Switch 2 like a motherfucker in this first year. Now, there's a difference. You can tell my nostril stuffed up because all the smoke only came out of one. But anyways, there's a difference. I'm older. You know what I'm saying? Switch 1 came out. That was what, 2017? That's 9 years ago. I was fucking 33 years old, bro. I'm 42 now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm older. I don't have the energy I had at that age, almost a decade ago. I mean, I haven't dropped off a lot, but I've dropped off enough that I can feel it. I have a very demanding job, a lot of hours, very tired a lot of the time, and you know, maybe it's just as you age, you know, don't get it fucking twisted. I'm always gonna game, and I'm always gonna be a gamer, and that's always gonna be my go-to leisurely activity, my hobby, my passion. I'm always gonna be a gamer, but it does hit differently a decade later. I don't get as, no, that's bullshit. Because that Star Fox Direct blew my fucking mind. Even though we knew it was coming, like I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, and I lost my mind like a fucking kid on Christmas. But that happens. Okay, so that happens much more fewer times in between. You know, it's a lot more rare that I react like that, or that I get that jazz or that pumped about gaming or a game at this age as opposed to almost a decade ago. That just happens, bro. That's the sadness of aging. And you know, I think I'm aging gracefully, bro. I'm staying in shape. I'm working out. I'm active, and I love it. I would never. The only thing I hide about my aging, and you can't tell right now because it's been a while since I've done it, but is I dye my beard because I don't like seeing all that gray. Like my wife likes the salt and pepper, but I'm like, babe, it's cool the salt and pepper, but when it's way more salt than pepper, nah, I ain't doing that shit. I dye it and I shave my head because I just always, since I was like 27, 28, I just like the bald look. So, but I'm in decent shape, bro. My job keeps me active too. You know, so I think I'm aging gracefully, but you're still aging. You know what I'm saying? So you. It's not that the passion gets lost, but the passion dims a little bit because you need to reserve your energy for other things and more important things. But yeah, I'm always gonna be a gamer, and I'm always gonna love it. But it's like that's one of the differences with Switch 2 versus Switch 1 is the passing of time. So now I can wait. You know, on Switch 1, I was itching, like, when's Nintendo's next game? And it's like, motherfucker, they're giving you a fucking monster game every fucking month. What more do you want? Now I'm like, Mario Kart World, phenomenal. 2 months later, like a month and a half later, actually, Donkey Kong Bonanza, awesome. Oh, a couple months later, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, awesome. But there was a distance of like 3 to 4 months between Donkey Kong Bonanza and Metroid 4 Beyond. Yeah, there was a bunch of great third-party games in between that graced the Switch, and I was just like, oh, this is the Switch 2, and I was just like, awesome. But the Nintendo games, there was a gap there, and it didn't bother me. Yeah, I was like, it's kind of weird, but then when I analyzed the situation like we're doing now, I was like, oh, but they got so much third-party support, and their systems flying off shelves, they could take their time, bro. We want this to be perfect. Plus, you know, they're also working. That's another thing. In 2017 on the Switch 1, maybe they were just getting into, if they had even arrived there yet, getting into the whole theme park business and movies and all that. Now they're full. They got 2 Mario Galaxy movies out there. They got a Legend of Zelda live action movie in production. They got theme parks in Japan and Hollywood. Like they're balling, nigga. So I'm like, take your time, take your time. All that has to continue to happen. As third party developers, gotta continue to hit it, bro. Don't get lazy. The system is more than capable. DLSS has made sure that you can put pretty much anything on this console, and it's gonna be a very good looking. The worst case scenario is it's gonna be a a worse looking version of the PlayStation or Xbox, but it's still gonna look great because of that DLSS, and it's still gonna run great as long as you put the fucking work, bro. Don't fucking get lazy. Third party developers keep bringing your games over, bro. The next fucking Far Cry, I want to see it on the Switch too. Microsoft, I love what Ashra Swarma. I gotta learn this bitch's name, bro. Every video I keep fucking up her name. I know it's Asha, but hold on. The fuck no. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong place. There we go. Asha Sharma. And like I said last video, she cute as fuck. All right. Sorry. Yeah, so I love what she's doing, and how Xbox is starting to get rolling a little bit. I just saw my bank statement, $22.99 for Game Pass instead of the $30. Beautiful, and some good stuff coming to Game Pass too. The lady will talk about that in another video. And yeah, I'm on Forza Horizon 6. It's amazing, it's awesome, but that's also going to come to PlayStation. Thankfully, it's going to come later to give priority to Xbox. But it's like y'all gotta stop. I know you probably had already promised Forza Horizon 6. That's it. Stop it. No games going anywhere unless you got a special deal with that company for that particular game. Having said that, please bring Sea of Thieves to Switch 2. Please bring Sea of Thieves to Switch 2. Please, please, please. But yeah, man, like Xbox needs to stop giving their games to everyone. But you know what I'm saying? Like, third party has to continue to bang on the Switch 2, bro. Like, bro, I'm loving it, bro. Bro, Madden, NBA, WWE, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, bro, Street Fighter 6, Cyberpunk. Let me see what else I had gotten into on my Switch 2. I got, oop, my bad. I was in Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. I was in WWE 2K25, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Jaws Retro Edition. Like I told y'all about that. That shit. Mario Kart World. Let's see this. There we go. Madden 26, NBA 2K26, Mortal Kombat 1, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Batman Arkham Trilogy. Xenoblade Chronicles X Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. That's another gem. Make sure I'm not missing anything. I jumped back a little bit into Mortal Kombat 11, just to go back between 11 and 1. And yeah, man, I mean, obviously, it's not as much as there was on the Switch 1, but that's also because I haven't been spending money the way I was back then. I've been saving a little, so I haven't bought Street Fighter. I haven't bought Cyberpunk. Plus, Cyberpunk came to Game Pass, so I played it through there. So yeah, man. I mean, year one versus the other. Switch One had a better year one, but that's not to say that Switch Two had a bad year one because Switch Two in its first year, less than its first year, shit, within the first couple of weeks, month or so, it became the fastest selling console of all time. We've never seen a system sell that fast at that clip, at that rate. Um, they're breaking records. There are I know Nintendo, and like Jason said, Nintendo always makes a comeback. The only thing I would change about that statement that he made is that it's not a comeback, dude, because they're killing it. I mean, they're just stomping a mud hole in the industry and walking that bitch dry. So it's really just about jump starting the releasing and the frequent releasing of their first party gems. That's all we're waiting for. Because they've got a couple out there, like I said, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart World, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Star Fox is coming, Pokemon Pokopia, I don't know how to say it. Basically, an Animal Crossing mixed with fucking Pokemon. No wonder the shit sold ridiculous and literally made the Switch 2 sales jump. You got a lot of stuff that's there, and there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. And that's where we got to get to, is when the new Mario game comes, the new Smash Brothers, the new Zelda, the new F-Zero that I'm telling you is coming. I'm telling you it's fucking coming. A new fucking wave race, please. Yeah, man. I mean, they're gonna go balls deep, bro. They're gonna go balls deep, and it's awesome. But yeah, man, I would say if you compare the two, Switch One definitely had a better first year. But when was the last time the greatest year one wasn't a good year or wasn't a better year than some other console's year? It's the best year one of all time. It's always gonna be the best. It's always gonna be better than the other console. When you look at Switch 2's year one on its own, pretty fucking good, bro. And I've been enjoying the hell out of it, bro. I'm telling you, bro. One thing that I'll touch on real quick, because we already hitting the half-hour mark, and I know you guys don't want to sit here watching me vape and drink. So the Switch 2, one of the things that's made it so enjoyable for me in year one is some of the features that it has that the Switch 1 doesn't. And I will stick to 3 features, and those are DLSS, Game Chat, and Game Share. DLSS speaks for itself. It's the reason why Resident Evil 9, that's another one, Resident Evil Requiem looks so fucking killer on the Switch 2 and plays so goddamn good. So does Resident Evil 8 Village, and so does Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. They all look amazing and run amazing on the Switch 2 because of DLSS. It basically uses AI to basically make inferior hardware be able to play at what looks to be, even though it may not natively be, to the naked eye, it looks fucking amazing, and it looks just like 4K or whatever it is. It's able to influence frame rates. It's able to influence resolution without having the hardware to do so, because it's using AI. Nintendo, masterstroke. Thank you, NVIDIA. Game Chat. Game Chat, I'm not gonna lie, I've used it a handful of times. Because call me antisocial. I don't have a lot of friends, bro. Like in the real world, I got Jason and Mercury, but I've never seen them face to face because we live so far from each other. One day we will. Here with me in my circle, I got one friend that's like my best friend, and I see him once every like couple of months. I'm working, I'm taking care of my family. I'm a homebody. I don't like going out a lot. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I'm antisocial. I don't know. But it's only been a couple of times that I've been able to play a game and use Game Chat and talk back and forth with some random person on my Nintendo Switch friend list, and they get to see what I'm playing while I get to see what they're playing. I love that shit. People laugh at that. They're like, oh yeah, but it's like 10 frames per second. Who gives a shit? It's still a cool feature where the audio is crystal clear. The noise cancellation is real. Believe the hype. It actually works. And you get to see what I'm playing. I get to see what you're playing. That is so fucking cool. While we're gaming and while we're chatting. I love Game Chat and want to use it so much more. So if any of you out there that are part of the channel or subscribed, got a Switch 2 and you got, Mario Kart World or whatever, you got a Switch 2. Hit me up, bro. I'll put you on the friend list, man, and we can chat and we can go back and forth, bro, in a way that we can't through video. Or through these videos on YouTube. And Game Share, bro. I talked about it briefly before. Mercury got WWE 2K26. I haven't gotten it yet. Bro, he fucking invited me, Game Share, and I was playing 2K26 on my Switch 2 online Game Share, and that shit was lag-free. It was smooth. He can comment on this video and tell you himself. That shit was, once we figured out how to get it set up, because it was kind of tricky how to get it set up, but once we looked it up, we're like, oh, that's all we got to do. Boom! And we played 5 or 6 matches, lag-free, smooth, like if we were in the same room. Chatting and using Game Share. Game Share is revolutionary. I'm sure that you can do something like Game Share on the PlayStation or on the Xbox, but you can't do it the way Nintendo's doing it. They must have that patented. The way Nintendo does Game Share is so fucking great and it's so revolutionary, and it's another feature that just puts the Switch 2 in a category all its own. So, that's basically it, man. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I thought it was a hell of a topic, man. Thank you, my boy Jason, for igniting that spark of inspiration. Yeah, man. Year one, I would say, game lineup wise, definitely goes to Switch 1. Impact wise, definitely goes to Switch 1 because the Switch 2 is not going to have the same impact. And it's just like the iPhone 2 wasn't going to have the same impact as the original iPhone. That wasn't going to happen. But I would say the system that feels more complete throughout its first year is the Switch 2. And again, just naturally. It's the next iteration. It has everything the Switch 1 had, plus more features, plus now third-party support, plus the power to be able to play these third-party games in a way that doesn't make you feel inferior to the PlayStation or the Xbox or the competitors. You're in the ballpark with them. You look just like them. You look damn good, and you run damn good. The more complete system in year one is a Switch 2. But again, these things are subjective, and also are just natural. Yeah. Of course, year one for the Switch 1 was better. We had never seen nothing like that. And of course, year one for the Switch 2 is the more complete system because it's got more bells and whistles. It's got everything Switch 1 has plus everything Switch 2 brought to the table. So it is what it is, man. But yeah, man, I thought it was a great discussion, great topic to dive into, man. I'm loving it. Nintendo has got me, bro. They had me with the Switch 1, and then you saw towards the end of the Switch 1's life cycle because they carried it on so long. I started to kind of like fall out of love with it and was kind of like, yeah, it's there. I play here and there. It's my secondary, but my Xbox is my main. Uh, if they continue going the way they're going with the Switch 2, there's no way that's happening again. I mean, I'm just enjoying my Switch 2 way too fucking much. And still, we're in 2026. We're 6 years into the PlayStation 5 life cycle, and I still don't have a reason to get it. I still don't have a reason to go and get a PlayStation 5. So, anyways, man, God bless y'all. Stay gaming. It's R to the double, dash to the ZON. You know what to do. God bless, peace, and always, always stay gaming.